So by now we've seen 3 different types of performance enhancing strategies. We've been mapping and doing and practicing a first technique of brainstorming. You remember the 4-minute brain writing technique. Thanks to that technique, you're already capable of generating lots of outputs. If you had a very strong challenge, I'm pretty sure you've discovered some additional things you never thought about to solve your own challenge. So basically in these 4 steps of understanding and learning, we've been from step 1 to step 2. You can see already there is a vastitude of knowledge around the concept of brainstorming, and there are very operational techniques that are used by professionals who need really to generate ideas. I hope you don't feel anymore that just using the word brainstorming is enough to generate concepts, or that anyone calling for brainstorming session in a company is knowledgeable about how to actually run this particular brainstorming session. So we've been going from step 1 to step 2. We potentially have a pile of different post-its with lots of outputs. What do we do with that? One common mistake is to think that the brainstorming stops when you have all these outputs. But if the whole point is to generate more certitude, more confidence in the right solution, you can't stop there. If you were stopping there, you would have too many different options on the table, and that would be very difficult to actually go the next step, which is execution on the project. So we have this pile of post-its. What do we do? There is one very excellent, simple and very powerful technique to sort out all these potential ideas we have, and it's called a strategic matrix. So a strategic matrix is not timed like we did for the brainwriting session. You can time it. Ideally, it shouldn't last more than 15, 20, 30 minutes maximum, so you can actually accomplish and decide on things. You can put a timer if you'd like. I tend to put a timer myself so I don't get crazy in the choice, but you could also run it slightly at a slower pace. Some people like to do the strategic matrix exercise the next day. So they separate the moment where they have their outputs, all the ideas on paper, and the moment where they rationally will classify these different ideas and find what are the most impactful ones. So the strategic matrix, we're going to cover it step by step, do it with my own post-its. I will go onto a computer for that, but normally it's ideal if you can do it on a physical space. So you remember, as I asked to write one idea per post-it, that's the whole thing. You can move these ideas in different directions, and for the matrix, it's absolutely perfect. I will do it on a computer for the sake of using a software that can show you the same thing but in a more organized manner. If I was doing it on the wall here, that would be a little small to see. So I will use my own challenge, which was find the best place for my next holidays. I've actually read the challenge, 4 minutes as well, plus 1 minute after a performance enhancing strategy video in my case. And I will use that to sort out the matrix. Very quickly on the matrix, before I even start on the computer, it's to explain how it works. A matrix is a way to actually position things physically in space according to certain variables. We're going to use 2 variables. One is the impact variable. How much impact does that particular solution have to solve my problem? So the impact measure, I very much like to put it in the vertical axis. The reason for that is that the more it climbs up, the more impactful is this idea. So at one point, all the impactful ideas are going to be clustered on top of the matrix. This is very good because you feel the ascendance, you feel the progression. So I tend to put it on the vertical axis. On the horizontal axis, I put cost. Cost is how much does it cost to actually generate this particular output, this particular execution, how much does it really cost to make it a reality, and so that it solves our problem. Cost is made of 2 things, money and time. That's very classic. If you have money, right, you can pay for higher cost solutions. If you have a lot of time, you can invest this particular time to make the solution happen. If you have no money, well, you need time. Usually when you have a lot of money and no time, then you purchase the time of someone else to make things happen. So always think about cost as time and money. If, for instance, to get the best possible holidays, one of my wonderful solutions would be to go 3 weeks in Vietnam to trek whole Vietnam by motorbike. It might not be a very huge cost. It's a cost, but not huge. But in terms of time, it's going to take me 3 weeks, and it's going to take certainly a month of preparation to make it happen. So in terms of cost, it's going to be pretty high, higher than spending a week in a villa next to my city, for instance. That would certainly cost maybe a slightly more money, but in terms of time, that would be very easy to organize. So I would be in the middle of the cost variable in this case, right? So impact, cost, these are our two variables. We're gonna switch onto the computer and sort my own idea. In your case, I would definitely recommend you to follow the technique, and just afterwards, take your pile of post-its and do the exact same thing. Because if you don't do it, if you don't practice and apply it immediately, you're gonna forget it. Use this moment, use this session to apply it.